So it's pretty much been a week since Serath came out, and I know what you guys are thinking. You're probably thinking, Britick, you Jewish cow fucker, you hate us. Why haven't you uploaded a Serath video, you fuck? And,
Were wrong. And were they wrong?
Are they wrong?
I think they're wrong 100%. Sometimes they're wrong. They were wrong.
half of that is correct. I don't hate you guys. I just haven't been able to get this bitch, okay? So, basically, long story short is I want to make better deck builds for you guys. I want to make better videos for you guys. I want to make them better quality. I want to make sure that I really go through, test these decks out, and make sure that they work well. And they do work well, or at least as well as they can for Serath in higher level play. At least in Diamond, I don't know about guys in Gold and Silver or whatever, but in Diamond, Serath does not hold up to any of the current heroes as it stands currently right now as of January 16th, 2017. It might change in the future, but as of right now, she is not in the meta whatsoever. She's a trash can. She's a trash can with wings. She's a trash can with wings that occasionally catches on fire only to be doused by 2 shots. So, the thing is, she does a lot of damage. She does a lot of DPS, but if she's focused, she's done. She's probably the second hardest hero to play as Kalari. And I have been trying really, really hard to play really, really well with her in these last couple of games, and I've only been able to win a couple times, and even still, that was only when my teammates somewhat put in a lot of good effort to help me through. Basically, Serath is non-existent right now in the meta, nor anywhere else. If you want to be successful, unless you're playing against really bad people that just don't understand how to focus her. Because if all you do is run away from Serath without shooting her, then yeah, she's going to deal a lot of damage. But she's very squishy, and even though she does do a lot of damage, it's very, very, very difficult to play her. So that's why it took me so long, because I wanted to make sure that that was the case, and it wasn't just me sucking with her, because I was doing everything. I was dodging abilities left and right with her. I was able to pick off carries when they weren't looking at me, but for the most part, it was very, very difficult to play her well, especially against people who knew what they were doing. But when I did have the most success, it was with this deck, and I also made another deck variant, because again, Serath is really interesting. She's a melee carry. And a lot of people don't play her in safe lane because a ranger is still very, very useful in this meta, and you don't want a ranger playing in solo lane or mid lane. So, usually she is put into offlane, and even sometimes in the jungle. So I have 2 decks, an offlane and a jungle deck. So let me run through these real quick without rambling on anymore. So let's get right on through it. I like the Archmagus Prime card. This is all up to you. Use your better judgment on it. Then you have a couple of starting items. If you're in offlane, I always start with a healer token and a health pot for that lane sustainability, especially if you're getting poked a lot. You want a little bit of health regen for that. And this Blink Charm is kind of early game, mid game. If you're having a lot of issues, if you're getting ganked, or if you're, dying a lot and you just want more survivability, you just want help farming up, then go ahead and use it. The thing with Serath is that she really needs to farm up a lot before she starts becoming useful, and by the time she becomes useful, she can then get melted by almost every hero on the enemy team. So it's very, very tricky to play her well and right. And it's difficult to do early game rotations with her unless your teammates are on point and unless you have some CC coverage. So Blink Charm helps with running away. I have 2 Assassin Wards here because I do want to make a video on this like starting strat that everyone does up in Diamond. It's very, very useful. I recommend you guys try it. You start off with a ward with nothing in it. You just start this off. The very first item you buy is a ward. And you go and you place it somewhere. And as soon as you place that ward, you back, and then you drop that ward, and then you have healer token and health pot going into lane. Because minions don't spawn until a minute, 20 minutes into the game. What the fuck am I saying? Minute 20 seconds into the game. And so that gives you enough time to go and plant a ward back, get your items, and come back in the lane before minions show up. And then the second ward is actually to be used, throughout the game and actually be placing wards and stuff. And it actually does not have any upgrades in it, and there's a reason for that. So with Serath, we want to build damage, attack speed, and crit chance, crit bonus, and even a little bit of pen if you get the chance. That's why I like using Assassin's Ward. It gives me some basic pen. But a lot of the heroes that you go for, specifically the carries, don't usually build too much penetration, so just a little bit is good enough. Plus the crit chance and the crit bonus damage is going to be plenty of damage. You really don't need to worry about pen with her. And so the first item I like to build is for damage. So I like the Spear of the Rift Hunter for damage, plus it gives me some crit chance right off the bat. Then I have another Spear of the Rift Hunter that gives me more crit chance. Then I have a Whirling Wand that gives me more damage and attack speed. And the thing with Serath is that her damage early on scaling is not too good. So that's why building attack speed on her is really nice early game as well. And then, after that, you have Blade of Agora for a bit more damage, and then the crit chance bonus. So these are all your early game, mid game cards. And then you can start building into your later game cards, such as Thirst Fang for your lifesteal. You want to make sure you have lifesteal, plenty of it, because that's the only way you're really going to survive, unless you get bursted down. But if you're 1v1ing a carry, you should be able to get some life back, especially if you're landing crits. That's why we have so much crit chance in this deck. And then, finally, in your final build, you should have another Spear of the Rift Hunter with 12 points, 9 points rather, of Dire Wound in there. So it's a 12-point total Spear of the Rift Hunter, then another 12-point total Spear of the Rift Hunter with another major wound in there, and then 2 major casts. That's going to give you a lot of crit chance, a lot of damage, and you're also going to have a 12-point Whirling Wand, so you're going to be attacking super fast. So basically, you need to be able to kill quick, and that's why you're dealing a lot of damage. You have a high crit chance, and you have a high attack speed. And it really does work really well, especially if you're picking off people. If you're ganking people, you attack, you use your slow, you attack again, you dive them, you attack again. Usually they're dead by then if you're able to pull off those combos, because Serath is all about those combos. So in the end, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then your ward 6. Those are your 6 cards. If you want to do some math, you have 12 points, 24 points, 36 points, 48 points, and then you have 57 points, and then you have 60 points from this last 3. So it's a lot of crit chance. Okay, this is going to end up giving you 48% crit chance. This is going to end up giving you another 24, so you have 72% crit chance from these 2 Spear of the Rift Hunters. You have your attack speed, you have your damage and lifesteal. So 72% crit chance with a lot of damage. I crit for about 700, around there, somewhere around there, 600 to 700 without prime, and with prime it's anywhere between 800 to 900 depending on who you're hitting and how much armor they have. So it does do a lot of damage. It's just the application of Serath herself is kind of sucky. And the other deck that I have for her is actually a jungle deck, just for shits and giggles. It's a little different, but the majority of it is the same. I actually don't have a second Assassin Ward in here because usually the jungler doesn't need to put in another ward. He has his own first ward that's right there, although if you want, you can go ahead and do that for sure. My bad, there's some shit going on and my control going crazy. I do have a healer token in here. I guess what you can do is you can get rid of this healer token and put in another Assassin's Ward. Instead, you don't really need the healer token there. I like Assassin's Ward because it gives me damage, it gives me basic pen, and it gives me lifesteal, and there's no upgrade bonus, so there's really no point in upgrading it anyway. And you're going to start with Reaper Siphon because it's going to give you plus 8 health back per jungle minion hit, so that's really good. So you want to keep that as long as you can, really, especially with Serath, because it's really difficult for her to go ahead and do that. And then you have Bright Steel Plate here. That's the biggest difference here, and you're actually going to keep this throughout the majority of the game because as a jungler, you're going to be ganking a lot, and you want to be focusing the carries. That's your main objective, because you have to play Serath as an assassin, really, not really as a carry. You kind of have to play her like Kalari. And that's really the trickiest thing, because Kalari at least has her invisibility, and she has a backflip, so she can get out of there pretty easily, whereas Serath doesn't really have either of those. She can't go invisible, and her movement ability is usually used as an engage, especially from the front, giggity, so you definitely want to make sure you have that. So that's why you want a little bit of resistance against carries, at least early on in the game. And then again, you have crit chance and damage. You have some damage from a Void Steel Dagger this time for some more pen. You can do it in a variety of different ways, but the main point is to get that lifesteal there. Thirst Fang is really nice because it gives you more damage, more power when it's fully upgraded. You just want the lifesteal, you want the crit chance, you want the crit bonus damage from Blade of Agora, you want either pen or damage, you just want to be doing a lot of damage, you want to be attacking somewhat fast maybe, or if you just want to focus on the damage and just try and get your crit chance up, you can not really need the attack speed too much. As you guys notice here, I actually don't have attack speed in this deck. That's basically because if you're comboing her autos in between her abilities, the attack speed's not really going to matter because your auto attack's going to recharge by the time you use it anyway. So, if you want to, you can go ahead and use, again, a Whirling Wand instead of a Void Steel Dagger. I just like the amount of damage that it gives me here. There's a lot of damage in this deck to try and get a lot of crit chance going off. Again, another Spirit of the Rift Hunter right here. For some more crit chance, you have some crit chance coming out of Bright Steel Plate. Actually, you can even, if you want more crit chance instead, you can go ahead and use a Minor Wound. There's a lot of different ways to do this. This is just to give you guys some ideas. But also, this has been working out for me pretty well if I ever decided to jungle her with her. But usually, you want to offlane with her if you put her anywhere at all, because she is very elusive, and there are better junglers than her anyway. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to try and be better with the uploads. I really did want to upload this by Friday. Today's Monday, by the way. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. But I did want to upload this by Friday. But I was just not content with myself. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't crazy and that I could actually play Serath. And I could. I did get some good games, but you kind of have to get lucky. You have to have a really good team comp, very specific, with a lot of crowd control. It's very, very important. And sometimes it just takes luck too, and you kind of have to have bad teammates as well. And from my experience, the team that did not have the Serath on their side usually won. So, yeah, I don't know if that goes to show for anything, but that's just my personal experience. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. As always, make sure y'all have a wonderful day.